Well, good evening, good evening. Merry Christmas to all. By now, everybody should have unwrapped their gifts and spent some time with some loved ones. And I hope everyone had a blessed day. I hope your day was just as blessed as mine. Well, I couldn't resist. I could not let the night go without me chopping it up today. I mean, with all the sports activity that went on today, chopping it up with Ramel had to hit the airways. And once again, no notes, straight from the throat. Thanks for being with me, but I got to get right to it. Yeah, I'm representing the New York Knicks, and I have my Knick hat on. But what a very disappointing loss it was this afternoon at 12 o'clock at the Garden this morning. I mean, think about it. The stage was set for the Knicks to come out and be world beaters. They're at home. The Garden crowd is there. You got the Boston Celtics, one of your old-time rivals. They come in, you trying to catch them in the division. You've been playing good ball at home. You had a nice little pep to your step. Only to come in here and lose a heartbreaker. And tell you the truth, the game really wasn't as close as the score indicated. Sure, the Knicks made a run to make it exciting in the final minute. But for the most part, from that second quarter, the Celtics, midway through the second quarter, the Celtics had went on a 17-2 run, and from that point on, pretty much controlled the game, controlled the pace of the game, and just simply controlled the game, taking the crowd out of the game at times. And whenever the Knicks tried to make a run or get close, they found a way to stop the bleeding and extend their lead or recapture their lead. So really, the score doesn't indicate the game, but I thought the game was lost. Well, you can blame it on a couple of areas, but one, let's start with Melo. That's my guy. There's no bigger Melo fan than myself. And I'm going to tell you, folks, I was screaming at him through the TV set today. There was just so many times where it looked like he lacked defense. There was a stretch where Jay Crowder came down during that 17-2 run and had 3 consecutive three-point shots. I'm talking about Jay Crowder, folks. This isn't Steph Curry. This isn't Klay Thompson. It isn't those kind of shooters. Not even Kyle Korver. For him to come down and shoot 3 3-pointers consecutively like that, I mean, that's on Carmelo. That really is. That's on Carmelo. And what makes matters worse, Carmelo wasn't giving it back on the offensive end. He struggled in the first half. Sure, he came out in the third quarter and put up 15, 16 points, whatever it was, in the third quarter. But in that first half, he struggled. Why? The guy he's supposed to defend was having his way along the three-point line at that. Just horrible display of defense by Carmelo. Something's got to give. He's got to lace up his sneakers. He's got to pull up his shorts, and he's got to dig in on the defensive end. I mean, if it's Jay Crowder doing that, what is it going to be like when you're facing the LeBrons of the world, or the Jimmy Butlers, or the Kevin Durants, or whoever else it might be? That's just poor defense, poor effort on his behalf. And again, it's one thing if he was giving it back, but he wasn't even scoring. And then this is where I really thought the game was lost. And this is where I tip my hat to Brad Stevens. I think Brad Stevens is one of the best coaches in the game. I think what he does with his team, no one else can do with that team. He puts them in a position to win. He gets the best out of them, whether it's man 1 or man 12. Whenever they step on the court and they're in uniform, he gets maximum effort for them. They play extremely well. And I think that's where the game was won. The way he coached, his substitution pattern. You know, during the 17-2 run, Isaiah Thomas wasn't even on the bench. I mean, wasn't even on the court. He was on the bench. So what happens here is that, you know, his substitution pattern keeps his guys fresh. Whereas Jeff, he didn't do anything as far as the bench. The bench didn't show up. There was a Lance Thomas sighting. I don't know why he even entered the game. He comes in the game. The first thing he does is blow an offensive rebound. That would have been a putback for sure. And then they kick it out to him for a wide open 3 straight away. Shoots an air ball. I mean, the only thing that he did good was pass it up one time 4-3 to Holiday. It was just a terrible effort from the bench. I mean, I saw Brandon Jennings out there, but it wasn't the Brandon Jennings that we've come to like and see and become accustomed to. The bench just gave minimum effort tonight, and it shows because Jeff had to go with the starters longer. Towards the end, fatigue was sinking in. Carmelo Anthony couldn't get a shot off towards the end of the game. Yeah, he hit a nice little three and then followed by Porzingis. But when we needed them the most, where it mattered, they were out of gas. And meanwhile, Boston Celtics was running around with fresh legs. So I thought this one was on Jeff. He has to do a better substitution pattern. And he's got to match the wits or the coaching of the opposing team. In this case here, I think Brad Stevens outcoached him. And as a result of it, the Celtics come into the Garden and get the win. Simple as that. Going to the next game, what a game that was. Golden State, new addition, Kevin Durant. They go into Cleveland. And Cleveland now beats Golden State 4 consecutive games dating back to the finals when they won the last 3. Now they win the first one of this season. What an exciting game that was. It was back and forth. It was good, great action. It looked like the best 2 teams was playing against one another. I think we all will agree we could see many of these games. But this looks like this is going to be the final. And without J.R. Smith, it didn't matter to Cleveland. But I'll say this. LeBron is LeBron. And we know who he is. And you can say he's the best player in the game right now. Where he finishes, that's to be determined. But we know who he is. But we also beginning to learn who Kyrie Irving is. What a phenomenal talent this guy is. We've seen him in the finals of Game 7 hit the go-ahead basket. That was a clutch three-pointer. And he just returns the favor again tonight as he hits a tough turnaround jumper with 3.1 seconds to go. A tough turnaround jumper on Klay Thompson. And Klay couldn't play him any better. If he was any closer, he would have been in his shorts. That's just how close and tight of defense it was. But it was just better offense. And Kyrie Irving, not only is he a champion, but he's also a gold medalist. And at 24 years old, the sky is the limit for this guy. He just continues to reach new heights. And this Cleveland team is going to be a factor because of him. When the season started, I thought Westbrook would be MVP. And running up to him, I thought would be Kyrie Irving. And when a game like today, there's reasons to think that Kyrie Irving could be considered for MVP. He played like an MVP. These are the type of games that stars need to play like stars when stars need to be stars. And quite frankly, he was a star. He was the star of the game today, hitting the game-winning shot. Now, it didn't end with a little controversy. But I don't see how the ref can make that call at the end of the game. But clearly, Richard Jefferson did trip Kevin Durant on that final play. But a referee is not going to blow the whistle there. I can't blame him for that. But if you're asking, yes, it was a foul. It was a foul. But you don't blow the whistle there. You don't blow the whistle at that point. So anyway, he doesn't get the shot off. As a result of it, Cleveland gets a win at home against Golden State. Quite frankly, I don't think this is going to be the last that we see of these 2 teams playing together. I think they will be playing come June in the finals for a 3rd consecutive year. And that's when it's going to get interesting. But for now, great theater for today, great action for today. Couldn't ask for anything better than that. Down to the final seconds. A game-winning shot by one guy, and an opposing team not able to get off a shot. And I'm going to tell you something. DeAndre Liggins, not too many people know who he is, but I bet Steph Curry knows who he is. He guarded him like a cheap suit. He was all over him. Steph Curry couldn't get off. He finished the game with 15 points, but this guy was all over him, chasing him all around. just tremendous effort by Liggins. The defense was strong. Again, Curry could not shake him loose. Curry could not do what he wanted to do. But very interesting to see what happens if these two teams should meet again in June, as everybody expects them to. There was a game in San Antonio with Chicago and San Antonio. What a lackluster effort down the wire for Chicago. San Antonio just blew this one away. I think they won by close by 20. They just overpowered them. Just too much for them. The Chicago Bulls, I thought they'd be a top 4 team in the East. Looks like they're going to have a lot to figure out. I tell you, if D. Wade doesn't have too much ties in the community of Chicago, I wouldn't be surprised if he's traded by the All-Star break. He doesn't look too pleased there. He almost has a look like, why did I come here? I seen him sitting on the bench in the final minutes of the fourth quarter, and he just didn't look like the typical D. Wade. Didn't look like Miami D. Wade. Let's put it that way. But this Chicago team, I don't know if Fred Hoiberg is the right guy for this team. It's a lot of talent over there. Jimmy Butler's having his best season. You got 2 champions over there in Rondo and D. Wade. There's enough talent over there. They're not getting it together over there. Something is missing. And for San Antonio, good game by Aldridge and a good game by Kawhi Leonard. This team here, the sky's the limit for them. They could be the reason why we don't see a Cleveland and Golden State finals for a third consecutive year, because it could be San Antonio representing the West. They're that talented. You know they're cohesive. They have chemistry. And you know they're well coached. And this is another team that it doesn't matter if it's player 1 or player 12. They all come to play. Pop gets maximum effort out of each and every player on that team, whether it's the old guys in Ginobili or Parker or some young guys in Patty Mills and Danny Green or Kawhi Leonard for sure, LaMarcus Aldridge. And remember, you got the battle-tested Paul Gasol over there. So you got a future Hall of Famers over there. You got some champions over there, quality veterans. And then Pop is incorporating some young people. And then you got David Lee over there. I mean, David Lee is a champion too. People fail to realize that, but David Lee has been in this league. He can use both hands. He's a smart player, very active around the board. He's not going to do anything he can't do. He's a great fit for San Antonio. And when he comes in, he gives maximum effort. So, I mean, here's another great find by San Antonio. I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes his career there, because he just seems like a perfect fit for that organization. Just a perfect fit. So San Antonio, once again, once again, San Antonio gets the win. Listen, I got a old school buddy of mine. He's tuning in, Jonathan Thomas. He says a foul is a foul. Yeah, he must be talking about that OKC and Cleveland game. Yeah, I agree with you, Jonathan. A foul is a foul, but with 1 second left, I doubt if the ref is going to call that unless it's something blatant. But I think it was right for a no call. But yes, it was a foul. For sure. It was a foul. And you're right, a foul is a foul. But depends on what ref it is. Maybe he grew up in Cleveland. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, KD was fouled, Jonathan. I agree. But you just don't call it right there at that time. Unfortunately, you don't. But what I want to do is I want to move along. I thought Pittsburgh stole a game. I don't know how they came up with that win, but I think they just stole a game. The Steelers at home. Baltimore Ravens looking like they were coming in to play spoilers. It did not happen. This Pittsburgh Steelers team, they kept their composure. You know, I thought it would come down to the killer bees, and pretty much it did. Bell, he was having his way. 20 carries, 122 yards. He was having his way. Big Ben, yeah, he threw 2 interceptions, but you know what? He threw 3 touchdowns as well. He had a big game. None bigger than Antonio Brown at the goal line throwing that one. And then Antonio Brown with the presence of mind to reach his hand over the goal line, Because, it's not about the body getting into the end zone. It's about the ball breaking the plane of the end zone. What a great reach and stretch by Antonio Brown to help seal the victory. Wow. Just outstanding play by Pittsburgh. With that win, Pittsburgh not only secures a playoff berth, but they win their division and they knock Baltimore out of the playoff picture altogether. There go my man Greg. What's happening, Greg? I see you. Merry Christmas. To my little bro Fred, Merry Christmas to you too. But what a presence of mind of Antonio Brown to just reach out for that goal line and extend his arm to allow the ball to cross the plane before his knees hit the ground. Just a tremendous effort by him, and good win by Pittsburgh. I'm going to tell you something. Early in the season, this Pittsburgh Steelers team. Oh, I got a call. Good evening. Who's calling? Oh, Greg, you gotta turn your phone down in the background. There you go. Okay. I figured you'd call up with the Pittsburgh Steelers winning tonight.
Oh yeah. You know I had to call up, man. It was a tough game. I had to be at the edge of my seat, but when we play them, it's always at the edge of my seat. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but it was a hard-fought game. Our defense has to do better, Ramel.
Well, you know what?
Our defense has to do better, Ramel.
I tell you what, the defense. One thing about the Steelers, and I'm going to echo the sentiments of my man Jonathan Thomas, who says that the Steelers are always well coached, and I have to agree with him on that. One thing about Mike Tomlin, he's going to have his players prepared and ready to win, regardless of who's in uniform. And I thought that the Achilles heel to the Pittsburgh Steelers was going to be their defense. But in these last several games that they had this run, the defense has been playing pretty well. But I'm going to tell you, I think Joe Flacco could be a top 10 quarterback in this league. He's not one to underestimate. I mean, he's not, man. He's a tough guy. He's a tough competitor.
He's a tough guy, and he's an accurate thrower, man. He is, man.
Yeah.
He's an accurate thrower.
He's a tough guy. And, he does have a ring. And a lot of people, say, well, the defense is the reason for it. The defense was strong. But, no matter how well your defense play, you win by having the most points. And usually that's generated by the offense. So he gets the job done. He could be a tough one. But Pittsburgh, they came up big, Greg. They came up real big.
Yeah, but let me say this to you real quick. Now, looking at the AFC playoff picture, right? Now, just think about it. I think we got an excellent run to the AFC Championship because Oakland just lost their quarterback, right? Miami lost their quarterback, correct?
That's correct.
One of them guys is going to have to come to us.
Well, here's the thing, Greg. I agree with your analysis about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would put it in this perspective. I think their chances of going to the Super Bowl improve with Derek Carr breaking his fibula. I agree with that. As far as Miami goes, Miami has won their last two games without their starting quarterback. Matt Moore has done an admirable job, but it's that running back Ajayi that he had his third 200-yard game yesterday of the season. You have to be careful with Miami. Now, I do think that Oakland, even with losing their quarterback, I believe they're still going to be the second seed in the AFC. So, with that said, Pittsburgh may have to play somewhere on the road. If it's Oakland, I give Pittsburgh a shot. I really do. I think Pittsburgh will beat them. I don't trust this backup quarterback that Oakland has.
But if KC wins this game tonight, it's still open, isn't it? The division, it's still open if KC wins.
You know what? You may be right on that, but I think Oakland will have them by a game, though. So if
they go down to the last game.
Right. Right, because Kansas City did beat Oakland twice in the season. So if Kansas City wins tonight, and then Oakland Oakland loses next week and Kansas City wins, I believe they'd be tied, and Kansas City can win the division because of head-to-head. But I think Denver's going to give Kansas City a fight tonight, but I think Kansas City puts the nail in the coffin for Denver tonight. I think the Broncos go home tonight. So yeah, I think they go home tonight. But, Greg, big win for the Steelers tonight. I mean, good for Mike Tomlin. One thing about Mike Tomlin, he does get the best of his guy. This is not a typical Pittsburgh defense team, but the killer bees on the offense is always going to be a problem. I believe Antonio Brown had 9 catches for like 98 yards. Again, Bell had 122 yards rushing on 20 carries. On 20, something like that, right? Yeah, with 20 carries. And then you have Big Ben. He threw for 270-plus yards. Although he threw 2 interceptions, but he threw 3 touchdowns. And he threw one when it mattered most. And you know my motto, Greg. Stars need to play like stars when stars need to be stars. And your stars came to play. The bottom line. They came to play. That's a good win for you guys.
All right. Hey, I'll talk to you later, man.
All right. Appreciate the call. Once again, Merry Christmas, Greg.
Merry Christmas, man. Merry Christmas to all your followers, too, man.
Appreciate that.
All right. Later.
And then we have it. We have Greg, the guru, big Pittsburgh Steelers fan, calling up. Wanted to comment on his victory today. And it's always good to hear from Greg. For those who don't know, Greg and I, that's probably the second friend I made in my life. Greg and I go back to the days when I was about 5, 6 years old. We became friends back in Queens, New York, in a neighborhood called Ravenswood. I mean, we go back that long ago. 5, 6 years old. We've been friends ever since. No matter if distance come between us because of residence or whatever, we always maintain some way of being in touch. That's Greg, the guru, great friend. But again, Pittsburgh with the great win. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close. We got a game on tonight. I'll probably start back up tomorrow, but I just couldn't resist. I had to get out there, get on my guy Carmelo, for one. I had to comment on the OKC Cleveland thriller, and definitely had to talk about this Pittsburgh Steelers win. So I'm going to close with that tonight. I appreciate you guys with your comments, Greg with the call, and I appreciate you tuning in. And I'll see you guys again in 24. Peace and blessings. You guys be good.